I can't get arrested again.
Could we go for ice cream?
This one might have gone under the radar for you.
A film with one of Hollywood's most recognizable actors.
Yeah?
Gotta talk to your mom.
One of the best child performances of the decade.
Give us a break, lady!
And a breakout lead who had never even stepped onto a set before.
Why didn't this incredible film sweep the 2017 Oscars or only take home one Academy Award nomination?
And as long as you're learning new fingers and new curse words, too.
There is a really strong, good, principled filmmaker.
Universal theme of childhood. We've all experienced childhood.
A film about childhood, its wonder, its blind spots, and the way it keeps echoing into adulthood.
At its core, it says no matter how broken, ruined, poverty-stricken the parent's life may be, children will be children.
The Florida Project deserved a lot better reception, and I can't help but wonder why. Director Sean Baker is known for telling stories about normal people.
They deal with people on the margins, and there's slightly more complicated stories, tougher commercially.
Who live on the margins, outskirts of society, sex workers, struggling parents, the working poor.
People who've been judged by a system that's already failed them.
He uses this platform to give grace and a voice to many who go unheard, and I find that an endearing quality for a director.
He does it in a manner that gives these people humanity and allows the viewer to empathize with their lives.
We approach these subjects in the most responsible way possible, and part of that is to approach our screenplays by doing research in a very journalistic way.
The cinematography is rich with saturated colors, shot on 35mm film to create a warm, almost nostalgic texture. It's not the dark, gritty realism we are used to seeing in films about poverty.
It's bright, it's alive. It reflects a world before it turned gray. And there's some kind of hope to be found there. Or maybe just denial.
Even the sound design leans into this realism. Aside from one key scene, there's no score pushing your emotions around. Music is diegetic. It comes from phones, TVs, radios within the scene.
That choice forces you to sit with the visuals, the people. It doesn't tell you how to feel. It shows you how they're feeling, and it allows you to decide.
Drama's over, folks. You got your power back.
In the film, we follow 6-year-old Mooney, her mother Haley, and Bobby, the hotel manager who's become a sort of reluctant guardian angel. They all live at the Magic Castle, a run-down motel painted like a fairy tale that moonlights as an apartment complex just down the road from Disney World. The director said the idea came from watching kids playing in parking lots while visiting his mother in Orlando. The name The Florida Project itself was Disney's original code name for Walt Disney World.
And that irony is baked into the DNA of this film.
This dream world built for children exists just miles from the hotel, where these kids live in squalor. They don't get to go to Disney World.
They get to stare at it from a parking lot.
The brilliance of the film lies in how it juggles these three vastly different characters. Mooney's wild joy, Haley's chaotic defiance, and Bobby's quiet, exhausted empathy, each caught in the same trap of circumstance.
Just trying to survive another day.
Listen to you and your child. No wonder you're in this situation.
And while watching the movie, we see clearly that children view the world from that reckless framework of innocence that is reserved only for them.
We're not supposed to go in. But let's go anyway.
From Mooney's perspective, the world is still a playground. A swamp can be a jungle, a cow pasture becomes animal kingdom, an abandoned building turns into a haunted house. Baker's camera literally lowers to Mooney's eye level, placing us in her world, where the colors are vibrant, the air is thick with heat and possibility.
And the pain of poverty hasn't yet taken roots.
Don't think I think you're as dumb as you want me to think. You're gonna screw me over.
The continuation of that theme is simple as well. Adults can't, shouldn't be children. They know better. The magic isn't real and the consequences are. The same recklessness that is charming in a child becomes destructive as an adult. And this is the core tension of the film, between innocence and responsibility. Childhood is about exploring, touching the edges of the world. Adulthood is about holding it all together, even if it's falling apart.
This is the dichotomy of innocence and responsibility.
Haley, portrayed with raw energy by Bria Vinaite in her first breakout role, is a perfect embodiment of that blurred line. She's a mother with a fierce love for her daughter, but also someone who refuses to conform, to grow up,
Smoke in the room again, you're out of here.
I'm not smoking.
to face consequences. She's still living in the chaos of adolescence, dragging Mooney along for the ride.
And
dancing for tips. That's what I do. I said no.
Her love is real, but that ability to protect that love is slipping through her fingers. She's an embodiment of good intentions clashing with bad decisions.
A loving mother whose actions often threaten the very stability
She wishes to provide.
Like to buy some perfume?
Yeah, this one will make all the girls flirt on me.
Mooney, played beautifully by Brooklynn Prince,
Yeah, lady, be quiet.
spends her summer joyously running amok around the Orlando area with her friends, Scooty, Jancy, and Dickie. With little parental oversight and an abundance of childhood innocence, they transform their gritty surroundings into a makeshift playground, scoring free ice cream, spitting on cars, smashing items in abandoned buildings, and crawling through motel spaces for hide and seek.
Mooney stands as a symbol of finding adventure amid hardship, blissfully unaware of the hardships around her.
Time to go.
Bobby, played with beautiful restraint by the legendary Willem Dafoe, is the emotional anchor. As the motel manager, he's constantly patching holes, literal and emotional. He fixes air conditioners, shoos off creeps, helps cover rent, but he's not a savior. He's a man doing his job. But in a world of instability,
That kind of consistency can start to look heroic.
Thank you very much.
You're not welcome.
torn between protecting Mooney from Haley's chaotic lifestyle and keeping the motel afloat, Bobby's quiet compassion helps shield the children from harsher realities.
It's a movie that paints poverty through a child's eye.
You, the viewer, understand just how precarious the situation is.
How does a mother, Mooney? You've disgraced me.
Haley.
Yeah, Mom, you're disgraced.
But the kids don't. They're still out there making their own fun and the best out of life they have. And it's that dissonance, the contrast between what we know and what they don't, that makes this film hit so hard. The magic castle and eye-catching paint, the motel they live in, is a twisted mirror of the fantasy just down the road. For Mooney, it is her castle, a place to rule, to explore, to build memories, a place where she defines her own happiness.
And that's the tragedy. The film does not end with a clean resolution.
I can always tell when adults are about to cry.
We watch Haley spiral, losing her job, turning to sex work,
What kind of car you driving?
and pushing everyone away. When Child Protective Services arrive, it's Bobby who made that call. And in that final unforgettable scene,
Can't say it.
Mooney runs to her friend Jancy, grabs her hand, and the two flee to Disney World. Not really, of course, but the sequence breaks the realism of the film, slipping into Mooney's imagination one last time.
It's her final act of rebellion, of denial, of self-preservation.
That ending, it's not hopeful. Not really. Depending on how you interpret it, it's the last moment of childhood, the final spark of magic before the system swallows her. Because once she's inside it, she'll learn the truth. That her mom was seen as reckless, unstable, dangerous. That her kingdom was a facade. She'll lose that version of her mom, the protector, the playmate, and gain a new one built by files, caseworkers, and court reports.
She sadly can never get to be oblivious again to how bad things were. She's forced, like many others in life, to grow up.
And that's the heartbreak. Haley wasn't ready to be a parent, but she tried in her own dysfunctional way to keep the world at bay. That final fantasy run toward the castle is Mooney's attempt to do the same, of escaping into her own imagination once again to deal with an all too harsh world that she's been thrust into outside of her control. While tourists snap selfies with Mickey Mouse, Mooney's snapping photos of her mom in a bathing suit so they can afford to eat. She's begging for change. She's cutting in line for food bank donations. She's selling perfume to strangers in parking lots.
All of this just down the road from the most magical place on earth.
It's rooted within our reality and based off of real lives and real experiences that people go through.
And roots the pretending, because then you have a stake. That's where you live. That's what you would die for that thing.
It almost doesn't feel like a story at times because of this. And that's what I think makes this film stick out in my and so many other people's minds years later. This film is such a quietly devastating masterpiece. It captures that fleeting moment when a child still believes the world is full of wonder, right before she learns the truth.
If you want a happy ending, you might have to go back to that headspace of a kid, just like Mooney, because that might be the only way to achieve that here.
And that's why this film's ending is left open to interpretation. You can choose to believe she ran off to Disney and had the time of her life. But I believe that's just cope for the all too harsh reality that some people face in this world. We can cope, and Mooney will be alright in the long run. But I think it's important to show and share these types of stories.
It's a slice of life feature where we spend the summer with Mooney and her friends as the audience. And summer, it's over.
What Sean Baker gives us isn't a simple morality tale. It's a slice of life that refuses to moralize. None of these characters are fully bad or good. They're human, flawed, overwhelmed, loving, scared. There are no heroes or villains in this film, just humans being and trying to survive. The film doesn't ask for pity, it asks for empathy.
It asks us to stop pretending that we're not aware of what's happening in the shadows of our own proverbial magic kingdoms.
I know this film had a lot of heavy topics, and if you feel personally connected to harder stories to tell like this, I would love to hear your thoughts on this film or another one this one reminds you of.
I find these movies so engaging and thought-provoking, and I'd love to hear more of your feelings down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and make fun choices.
Have you seen Dee?
Dee who?
Dee is not